Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is The Outer Worlds 2. This is Obsidian Entertainment's latest RPG. They're best known for their work on Fallout New Vegas, so let's see how they did with the sequel to The Outer Worlds. Immediately thrown into the action, you assume the role of an Earth Directorate agent. These agents are sent to uncover the source of rifts, pockets of destabilized space-time that have been cropping up in the Arcadia star system. Your choices matter, as do your actions. Keep this in mind as you go about your business. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
All right, this is a game, Chris, where your choices really matter, even from the very beginning of the game. You know, you get to choose not only am I going to go in guns blazing or am I going to go and sneak around, take one guy out at a time. Now, it's more than just that. This is a full-blown RPG. So how did you handle that, Chris?
Yeah, I'm a very indecisive gamer, and I kind of let the skills and flaws play itself. I feel like, with Outer Worlds 2, it's back. I mean, Obsidian is once again playing with the mind of gamers that keeps RPG fans, awake at night. I mean, do you want to talk your way out of this fight, Henrik, or do you want to just, I don't know, maybe accidentally shoot everyone and just blame your companion for why did we just speed run through this whole thing? But how did you, approach this whole, style of game, especially with the, the new rendition to this universe?
I was kind of surprised because typically in a game like this, I tend to be the kind of person who decides from the very beginning, okay, I'm gonna sneak around. It's why I chose hacking as one of the the skills to learn from the get go, because I was thinking, okay, if I know how to hack things, then I can kind of sneak around more. And sneaking was the other thing because I really wanted to be stealthy. But after maybe halfway through the introduction mission, I was like, you know what? I have probably a lot of guns that I'm going to miss out on if I just sneak around. So let's just go guns blazing for a bit. And actually, it was some way, I would say it was pretty satisfying to.
I think it's a little bit more satisfying. Yeah, I was about to say, I kind of felt myself not being so very diplomatic myself. Usually I'm the kind of person in these kind of style of worlds, especially with the creators of Fallout New Vegas. I always feel like, the strong suit is the speech, the delivery of meeting all these wonderful characters that are in this galaxy that they've created. And that's why, you start to wonder, what is that perfect starting skill to really focus on, whether it was medical or speech or, like you said, hacking or lock picking. And yeah, I felt like I'm that doesn't surprise me, Henrik, with the hacking around stuff like that. You're the guy that's kind of been joking around recently. I'm not really into these cutscenes, so you weren't really into the whole speech thing. You kind of were like, listen, I need a companion. I need someone to come guns blazing, but just pipe it down. Just be there when I need you.
Yeah, it's kind of why I also just stuck with Niles as my companion for the majority of the game.
Okay.
Because he's the first one you get right after.
Yeah, I went with Valerie because I like the the whole idea with just somebody completely different. But yeah, you were speaking on Niles. What kind of stood out for that companion that just kind of was like, I'm sold.
It was an easy choice because you get him right away. You don't have to really put much effort into getting him on your side.
True.
But also, I kind of like his character. He's got this backstory that you get to see in the intro mission where he gets injured and then 10 years go by and he ends up getting to be this kind of more seasoned person who has been through some stuff. He's found himself a little more since the beginning of the game when he was just this preppy dude trying to do his best for the organization, and things turned for the worse for him at the end.
Right. And I feel like, and I think that's a great point. And they really wanted to separate themselves from the first game where we left the Halcyon system behind and upgraded to Arcadia, the new planets and new corporations, the same depressing reminder that, capitalism found a way to trademark oxygen, I guess you could say. But every faction from the Order of the Ascendant to Auntie's Choice was something from, I think that you had to pick between what was the less of two evils. I mean, it was
there's not really a good choice one way or the other.
No, not at all. I mean, you're constantly forced to pick a side. And who did you sell your soul to first? I mean, I think a lot of people might have went with Auntie's choice in the beginning.
Yeah.
But then again, where did you start to lean with your style of gameplay?
Yeah, I went Auntie's choice as well, even if you think that's maybe the vanilla choice for people.
Because they say they're pro-freedom, right?
Yeah,
And then
and
the
you kind of find out
protectorate.
they're not.
No, not at all. And then you're gonna get like the protectorate, like they're like, they really take that law and order way too seriously. And then like the whole idea of freedom of thought, that was a right. And then like I like that with choices, they get really, really messy, and then so you really have a hard time truly finding the right answer, or are we just like picking our favorite disaster? I think that's what Obsidian was trying to set up with the Outer Worlds too.
No, 100%. I mean, it's typical in an RPG for people to lean maybe more towards the good side, unless they want to be really chaotic. But the majority of people probably, at the end of the day, pick closer to the good side. But in this game, you just got to choose one of two evils, like you were saying.
Right. And do you feel, though, like this concept is a bit played out, though? Because, like, as I was playing this game, I kept thinking about Starfield. I kept thinking about, No Man's Sky. I kept thinking about, or Helldivers 2, the same ordeal, capitalism, mega corporations, this and that. And it's like, is this... it seems like it's all starting to get packaged the same. And I feel like that might be the only issue with this kind of style of game, because I feel like the role playing experience is the major high of this game. But after a while, I feel like it was a bit slow in the beginning of this game. It took a while for me to really get into the story, which is sad to even say because I love Obsidian. But once you get into the Act 2, it really starts to build up a little bit. But do you feel that kind of same way, that like everybody's kind of writing the same stories right now when it comes to these open world experiences?
And it
without trying to say too much.
No, yeah. You don't want to spoil too much. But it definitely does feel like it's maybe this was a safe choice for them. Knowing, hey, we know that there's a demographic of people that like this kind of storytelling and this genre of storytelting. But it's kind of...
But like this was the game that they were going to charge $80 for, and then enough pressure put them at $70, and then it was a day one release.
And that's the thing too, because when I compare this to other games from Obsidian, like we go back to Avowed. This is definitely, I think, in the better direction than Avowed was. Avowed kind of was,
I would agree,
even safer of a fantasy world. But then you go to New Vegas, Fallout New Vegas. That game felt like it took chance on things. It took risk in the storytelling. It took risk in, letting you do certain things. And I didn't necessarily feel that in this game too much. Yeah. Maybe it's just Obsidian wants to move away from taking risks, but at the same time, that's kind of what brought people to liking them in the first place.
Yeah, you're saying like choices in the open world, like, because I would say, like, at least with like your personal character, I do, well, actually, now that I think about it, like, okay, let's set up the premise for some of the gamers that are not too familiar. Like, you're gonna get 2 skill points per level, 12 skills to manage, and only 15 total perks by level 30. And sometimes as you start to get closer towards the end, especially if you're like trying to be a completionist, you get to level 30 quickly. And then once you feel like that XP is like capped, kind of kills the vibe a little bit in a sense. Cause then you're like, I just want to race to get this game done with. You know what I mean? Cause it's like, I've already completed what I needed to do, and I feel like they focus so much on the flaw system, which I think is great. There are really, really some funny moments where, like, if you steal too much, it's gonna automatically start stealing for you. You don't have a choice.
You have bad knees, so if you crouch, you start to make a ton of noise from your knees popping, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're like, wait, why was I upgrading my whole lot picking, and all of a sudden I got this silly ass flaw? That's like really, really hindering my experience. So, but then again, it leads to, did you take any flaws on purpose, or did the game just call you out for who you are as a person, Henrik?
part of it is because you don't necessarily know what you're going to get until you look it up or you come across it. Uh, I could definitely see people, metagaming their way out of it and being like, I want to go for this flaw. But at the same time, this is the kind of game where you're not supposed to do that. Just roll with the
Right.
punches, get what you
And it's
get,
kinda
and that's it.
and it's kind of interesting too. Like they were trying to recommend at first, like to some gamers, like maybe during your first play through, you might not want to add it with the flaws. But I feel like the flaws were the focus to this game because with the flaws, I feel like that's where the replayability could happen for some gamers. You know what I mean? Where they might go, maybe if I play this a little bit differently the next time around, maybe I'll have a totally different game experience from the last. And I think that's huge because I'm sure when I saw that one flaw, because it didn't happen for me, I had to look up some of the ones that I missed, but like foot in the mouth syndrome, I have to say that had to be you. Did you land on that flaw? Like where you just kept skipping all the one. Oh, you did not get that one? That was pretty funny where like if you start skipping dialogue after a while, like they're like, you're clearly can't be trusted with the choice. So like you start to have like a time limit of like how fast you have to pick your choice. And so I think there's some really, really cool moments. And yeah, like we were saying with this game, like each one represents a faction, these companions, and you have to really be smart about your choice. But at the end of the day, I would say that Outer Worlds 2 doesn't bring owls to Athens in the RPG genre. But I would say it's witty, it's weird, and it's constantly reminds you that sometimes the biggest monsters in space wear suits. And so it's no different than the theme of the game, right? And the question stands, right? Choices matter. Is this a pause or a repeat, Henrik?
I'm going to say it's a repeat. And I'm going to say that because, I do feel like the gameplay is engaging enough where you can go through it a second time and have a good time, maybe speeding through some stuff, maybe ended up getting that foot in the mouth syndrome as a result, but that's all part of the experience.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
It's like, it's so in between. Like part of me says pause for the pricing of it. I think it's really cool if you can pick it up on like a subscription service currently right now and then burn through it. And then if it goes on sale, then it's like, yeah, you're definitely going to get that replayability. So I'm going to be fair too. I'm going to call it a repeat because it definitely leans more towards the repeat route. But there is that little moment where it's like, I just, at the moment, to pay for it at the retail rate, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair because it is a premium game, so it's pretty expensive.
Well, yeah, I mean, they try to push it to $80 and then drop the $10 and then like, hey, let's do it as a day one release. But hey, that's where you, the gamers, need to decide. Pull out your controllers. Let us know. Is this a pause to play something new or a repeat for endless fun?